Welcome back to part 2 of our brutal Supercross 25 career mode on the highest difficulty. In episode 1, we got our first real taste of pain. Ghost Riders flying off into the distance, a slow start in the 250 West Series, but also our first points finish with a gritty P5 in San Diego. The question now, can we build on that momentum in Anaheim too? Let's find out. Anaheim 2. Surprisingly, I come out on top after practice, with quite a big margin over number 2, Shimoda. For the first time in this career, I actually get to pick my gate spot.
Soon we'll find out which riders have these qualities.
I completely miss the gate drop and throw away all the advantage from that great practice. Then Jordan Smith and I, unintentionally, team up to take Shimoda out in turn 1. Bit messy, but at least I claw my way back to P5. After the first rhythm section, I take a wide line to carry as much speed as possible into the first triple. I absolutely nail it and gain 3 spots, sliding into second behind Bomer. Time to tuck in and see if I can find a way past, though it's clear he's flying right now. It's a pretty scrappy first lap for me, and Bomer's pulled a small gap as we head back to the triple. Once again, I go wide to carry max speed, and it pays off. Bomer messes up his triple, and just like that, I'm right back on his rear tire. Teammate and rival Jordan Smith, who I have to beat this race, is right on our tail too. And just like that, it's a 3-way fight for the lead. I nearly perfect the double into triple and line up my first move on Bomer. Over the finish line jump, I'm right there, and I set up a hard but fair block pass. I take the lead for the first time, and I'm feeling confident. But Bomer strikes right back. I mess up, and we're back to square one. He's insanely quick out of the corners and pulls a small gap again, while Smith nearly gets taken out by another AI rider behind us. I start to lose a bit of momentum as Smith passes me for second. I try to hit the triple again, but come up just short. Still, I manage to force my way past Smith and reclaim second. But Smith comes back at me again as we battle for second, and surprisingly, Bomer isn't pulling away. Finally, I shake Smith off over the finish line jump and immediately start lining up my move for Bomer. We're side by side over the whoops in what feels like a spectacular race. So far, I'm really impressed with how the AI behaves in this game. I take the inside line, carry great speed out of the corner, and finally reclaim the lead. But Smith stays glued to my rear tire the entire way and makes his move coming over the whoops. I strike back immediately. I can't let him get away. As the clock hits 0 and we head into the final section to start the last lap, we're side by side once again. Coming into the whoops for the final time, Smith has the slightest gap, and I just absolutely send it. Was it over the limit or still fair? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, I come out on top and retake the lead once again. But Smith isn't going anywhere, so I've got to nail the final part of this last lap. Trying to set up one last move, Smith makes a mistake. And just like that, my first victory is in the books. What a race that was. I've played some of the previous Supercross games, but I feel like I rarely had races this fun in those. So my first victory, beating the objective set by the game, where I had to finish ahead of Smith. And he definitely didn't make it easy. I actually can't wait for the next round, especially with the Triumph's handling getting an upgrade. But before we head into round 4 of our 250 West Rookie campaign, the game throws us a special event, a motocross race at the Geyser Fields, a custom-made track just for this game. I won't go too deep into it, because the race itself was a weird one. Kind of like the Futures races back in episode 1. I was too slow for the riders in front and too fast for the ones behind. At first, I had no clue where I was going, and by the time I started to get up to speed, it was way too late to mount any kind of comeback. I end up finishing 12th. I think the track itself isn't too bad, and the change of pace between Supercross and Motocross is a nice touch, I guess. But now, let's get back into the Supercross part of the career. It's time to pick the next upgrade for the Triumph. Both acceleration and braking still need work, but I decide to go for more acceleration. So far, I haven't really felt held back by the brakes, but getting off the line and out of corners quicker, that could make a real difference. Then, before we actually head back to the track, there's another big decision to make. At this point in the season, I have to let the game know my team preference for next year. And after those recent results, I'm definitely eyeing a move up to the 450 class. There are so many options, but for now, I'm skipping the sponsor teams and focusing on the official factory squads. In the end, I decide to enter negotiations with the Rockstar Energy Gas Factory Racing Team, who apparently have zero interest in me. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Our final race of this episode is actually the first Triple Crown of the season, and we're in Arizona. Practice went pretty smoothly, and I managed to grab the 5th gate pick. I line up for the first main event right between Bomer and DiFrancesco. Should be a spicy one.
Soon we'll find out which riders have these qualities.
Damn, I completely missed the drop again. Unbelievable. But I do manage to sneak up the inside in the first corner and slot into second as we hit the first rhythm section. Sanford grabbed the whole shot, but of course, it's Smith right there with me again. He even dives up the inside and takes the spot. Deegan and I are bar to bar for a while, as Sanford drops 3 spots and Smith takes over the lead. I can't let him get away, so I set up a block on Deegan to clear some space and go after my rival. Crossing the line, I actually think about making a move on Smith, but I fail hard while trying to double into triple. In my attempt to recover, I make another mistake, and now both Deegan and Smith are back in front of me. I manage to recover some ground and tough it out with Deegan, while DiFrancesco is right there too. Trying to power out of the corner, I completely lose traction and end up passing the jumps outside of the track, losing more ground on Deegan and Smith. The rhythm section after the whoops is still giving me trouble. I just can't seem to nail it without making mistakes. Now, DiFrancesco passes me for third as we head into the final 2 laps of this first main event. DiFrancesco messes up his rhythm section completely, and I'm back in third, chasing the top 2. Entering the final lap, third is all I can hope for as I cross the finish line jump, but then Smith makes a huge mistake. While leading and entering the final lap, Smith completely messes up the first triple, comes up short, and crashes. That gives Deegan the victory and also lets me grab second, but the fight isn't over just yet. Smith stays glued to my rear wheel as we head into the big triple. Neither of us lands it cleanly, but going into the corner, I leave just a bit too much space. Smith pounces, muscles his way through, and throws me off balance. I get pushed off track again and drop to fourth. No way to make up the ground this late, so that's where I finish. Deegan takes the first W of the Triple Crown, with Smith just edging out DiFrancesco for second. Another incredibly fun race. And with that 4th place finish, we wrap up episode 2. Are you guys having as much fun with Supercross as I am right now, or is it just me? Is it a perfect game? Definitely not, but man, I'm having a blast with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll take on the rest of the Triple Crown.